All right, hi everyone. Welcome to part 2 of the problem set 3 video. In part 2, we're going to be looking at k-means clustering, which is also known as market segmentation. We are going to look at some inputs, and we are going to assign those inputs into some cluster, meaning we're going to assign them to group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, group 5. Those groups are known as clusters, and the number of groups is the k in k-means clustering. So k-means meaning you have a number of groups and you look at the average values from whatever variables you're inputting into those groups. And so I'm going to show you a demo of this. You're going to be using a macro-enabled file for this assignment. And what that means is that it's going to run through basically a program within Excel. So a few things you need to know when you first download the file. First off, let me show you this. You're going to have the file. It's going to be listed here in your downloads folder, wherever whatever folder you put it in. The first thing you need to do is enable or unblock this file, because what's going to happen is that if you download a macro enabled file from the internet, it's going to think there's a virus in it. And so you need to enable the ability to actually work in that file to start. So what you'll need to do is right click on the file and go to properties. After you go to properties, there's going to be a button right here that says unblock. And I've already done that, and so it's already unblocked on my system. But you can see here where you would go to go there. Actually, tell you what, I'm going to pause real quick. I'm going to download this file, the demo file, back from the internet, just so you can see exactly what I'm talking about as far as that unblock goes. All right, and we're back. So I've downloaded it from, this is a problem set 3, this is a demo version of it. I'm going to show you what it would look like. If I open this file, what's going to happen is that it's going to do like it normally would do and let me enable editing. But if you don't unblock the file, you're going to see this pop up. Security risk, Microsoft has blocked macros from running because the file is untrusted. So what you'll need to do is go into here, right click it, properties, and here's that unblock that I was talking about. This file came from another computer. It might be blocked to help protect this computer. So right click, properties, and then click unblock, OK. Now, when I open the file, you can see that I can enable the content, and that red pop-up doesn't happen. All right. So I'm going to open up the version. So here's the one that I have changed a few things on. One, I've added this first tab. This k-means clustering. This is where you're going to have on your file, you're going to have some sections to answer some questions. You're going to be copying over information once the observations are assigned to their various clusters. Depending on if you end up choosing 2, 3, 4, 5 clusters, it's going to give you a number, either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, based on how many you chose. And you're going to be writing some answers into assigned sections right off to the right. In the meanwhile, this input data is going to be where you're going to be copying your information over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the data for here. This is going to be my demo data. So you're going to see it's going to say here, observation, don't put this in a template. So just copy the labels, copy all of this over, and then just paste it in this box right here, this white box in the top left. A lot of this stuff is going to be locked. This was made by somebody else online a while back, Jeff Fripp, in fact. And I can't edit most of this stuff if I try to change something. All the blue boxes are protected. In this orange box, do not click anywhere in this orange box right here until after you've clicked the data. It says when you've entered all the data, please click this icon to run the cluster analysis. All right. And one more thing before we get started, if you do not have the solver tool enabled on your computer, specifically the solver tool for macro enabled files, VBA, let's go through that process, what that looks like. So you're going to go to File, you're going to go to Options down here, and from here you're going to go to Add-ins. So Add-ins. And you can see active add-ins. I have Analysis Toolpack VBA, Solver add-in. You need this Solver add-in. The Analysis Toolpack and the Analysis Toolpack VBA you're going to need later, so you might as well add them anyway. But you can see Manage Excel Add-ins, Go, and then turn all 3 of these on. Check mark, check mark, check mark, and then hit OK. The Euro currency tools we do not need in this class, but you will need the other three at some point this semester. The solver add-on is what's being used right now. So I said the VBA one, that's a different thing. You'll need the solver add-in there. So if you go to your data tab and you don't see the word solver right here, it means you need to add that in to the add-ins, doing what I just showed you. If you're running on an older version of Microsoft Excel, or if you're running on a Mac, if you just search in Google, how do I add solver add-in on Mac or on Office, I don't know, 10. I don't remember the number before 365 at this point. But just search on Google, it'll tell you. Otherwise, you can do what I just did in the video by going to File, Options, and then Add-ins, clicking Go, and then you get to here. All right, so I've got those enabled. It's right here. Now I'm going to copy over and paste those values that I had over here on that other file, and we've got age, income, car loan. So we've got 30 inputs. Again, I did not copy over the observation number. In your actual problem set, you're going to be doing Adam Sandler movies as of 2015, their box office numbers and their Rotten Tomatoes scores. And you're going to be segmenting those out just for fun. But this is going to be age, income, and car loan of different individuals. I've got the data in the file. So after I paste it, I'm going to push this orange button. Now, this is going to take probably 2 or 3 minutes to run. So if it doesn't do anything right away, don't worry. And if you're on a slower computer, it could take 5-6 minutes. So grab a cup of coffee, use the bathroom, just click this button, and then wait. You're going to see the circle spinning there, and in the bottom left, you're going to see this incumbent, subproblem, trial solutions. It is trying to figure out where all of those 30 observations should be put into based on their age, based on their income, based on their car loans, looking for things similar to it, and it's running through a ton of stuff. You can see this is why we do not just do this in through the use of Excel on our own manually. There's a lot to it. It's running through a very advanced script in order to do this for us. So we're just going to wait. In fact, I'm going to pause the video so you don't have to sit here waiting for it to happen. So when it's done, it's going to move you to the output clusters tab. So again, 2 or 3 minutes at least, generally, depending on how fast your computer is. All right, we're back a few moments later. All right, so here we have it. It's popped us into the output clusters tab. Now here's what you're going to look for and what you're going to need to interpret for your work this week. What it's going to tell you is if we just had one cluster segment, how many people would be put in that cluster? Obviously, you're not going to choose one cluster unless you can give me a very compelling reason why you put all of these into one cluster and didn't segment them at all. I've not seen anybody give me a very compelling reason for that or attempt that. So I would say probably don't do that. And then you can see segment, if you have 2 clusters or segments, basically the average age of segment 1 is 58, the income's 40,000, 18,750 is what they owe on their car loans. You can see segment 2, average age is 37, income is about half and owes a little bit more on their car loans. And so there are 12 respondents in segment 1, 18 respondents in segment 2 in this case. SSE is sum of squared errors. This is obviously lower the better if you've had quant already. If you're using this as a substitute for quant, you wouldn't have, but if you remember from statistics when you're looking at analyzing the values, you want fewer errors, basically the prediction versus actual, etc. So lower the better, but not as big of a deal when it comes to the cluster analysis though. So mostly, don't ignore this, but it's going to come into play just very slightly. All right, let's say we were to give 3 clusters. The average age here, 37, 56, 63. So you have younger, a little older, older than that, low income, but older, higher income and older, right? Car loan, they owe a lot. They don't owe much. They owe a lot more on their car loan. If you did 4 clusters, you can see what the age would be, income would be how much they owe on car loan, right? And to visualize that, we can actually go to the next tab. This is the segmentation maps. So in the segmentation map, if you had, it's not going to map it for one cluster because again, you're not choosing one cluster. But the segmentation maps are only going to look at 2 variables. Now, in this case, we inputted 3 variables: age, income, and car loan. So how this works on this macro-enabled file is that whichever one you want to be on the x-axis, you put a 1 or a 2 here. And it's referring to this 1, 2, and 3. And if I want a car loan on the y-axis, I would put a 3 here. And then if I wanted income on the x-axis, I would put a 2 here, because income is 2, car loan is 3, age is 1. So I can look at any two variables I want and look at how they segment. You can see there's a lot of overlap here with 4. So I probably wouldn't want to do those two variables and look at that, but I might look at some other options here a little bit better. But mostly I'm probably not as worried about car loan. There's a lot of things that could come into play for car loan. So let's just look at age and income, the first two there, and see what the segmentation looks like. So how I could interpret this is I could say that segment 1 is younger, lower income. Segment 2 is older, medium income. Segment 3 is the oldest and the highest income, right? We could look at it again with 4, but you can see a lot of overlap. So segment 1, 2, and 3. Segment 2 is, the youngest, the lowest income, also young, a little bit more money, but not a lot. It's still between that 20 and 30,000 range on average. Same thing here, older but low income, and then segment 4 is about where segment 3 was here. Not a lot of change. Same thing here, not a lot of significant detail. So based on the separation of the averages here, I would look at this and I think 3 segments, 3 clusters, 3 as my K, and the K means K is the number of, right? It's a silent K. 3 is good here. So then I would look at the segmentation here and say, okay, I'm going to go with 3. And the next step you'll need to do, once you decided on how many segments you're choosing, is go back to output clusters and scroll down. So because I chose 3, I'm going to copy all of these numbers over. So I'm going to copy, click on K-means clustering, and right here where I've written assigned cluster, you're going to right click and then choose paste values. If you were to just paste normally, it's going to do all the references and it's not going to find it because of the way that this thing's set up. You have to change just the values from these numbers that we're copying over. And you're going to have Adam Sandler movies, right? So if you pick 2, 3, 4, 5 clusters, whatever it is you chose, you're gonna right click and you're gonna choose to paste the values. And this is which cluster this observation was assigned to. Now in this demo, they're numbered 1 through 30. In your actual file, it's going to look, let's see, let me open it back up again. Okay, 1 second. It was, I moved it into, yeah, okay. So in your actual file, you're going to have the names of these Adam Sandler movies that he was in some way involved in, either starred in it or he produced it. There's 48 observations ranging from Shakes the Clown all the way down to Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. And you're going to look at the rating, Rotten Tomatoes score, and box office as of 2015 in millions on that. And you'll have, so you'll have the observations. The observations will be the movie names, and you're going to see what cluster they were assigned to. Next, we're going to want to sort all of these by the assigned cluster. Basically, we want to have cluster 1 listed first, then cluster 2, then cluster 3. I'm going to go to sort and filter, custom sort. I want to sort by assigned cluster. Again, if you don't have my data has headers checked, I would check that. That way you can always click on the headers and include that, and then everything underneath that gets sorted. Smallest to largest, assigned cluster. And now we're going to have cluster 1, cluster 2, and only a few things in cluster 3. So only these 3 people were put into cluster 3. Now for that reason, maybe we didn't want to pick 3. So we can look at a few other things. One is the SSE charts. This is basically telling us how many errors we had per segment, and very few errors in 3. The errors were more spread out into in 1 and 2. If we were doing this better, we would probably have several hundred observations of individuals and not just 30, and we would see them a little bit more separated based on the number put into them. If I look under the segmentation or output clusters here, I can see that with 3 clusters, there was 18, 9, and 3. Now that's maybe less ideal. So It's possible you might want to choose something where it's split a little bit better. 7, 7, 12, and 4 might be better for this case. You're going to want to explain that based on your reading of the interpretation of k-means clustering from the book and from the PowerPoint and all that. You could also look at the central means. This is a visual that you would have seen just briefly on the PowerPoint slide and lecture video that I did along with your book. These circles represent where the center is of all of these observations. So basically, this is all the observations for 3. There's only 3 of them, and the central is right here. The center is right here. So instead of looking at it on this map, where it makes it larger based on the number of people in that, it separates a little bit more. So you can see this absolute center of it for 4 might be separated enough that there's something different about these individuals. You know, so it's really going to be up to your interpretation of it, and your interpretation of it's going to be part of the assignment on this. You're going to be doing a little bit of writing on answering the questions again in their designated areas on this k-means clustering tab. So you know, ideally you're going to look for something where the errors are more spread out and shared a little bit better. So of these, I almost like 4 a little bit better than 3, especially based on a number of people in each observation, segment 1, 2, 3, and 4. But I'm showing, you know, that very few people get to the point where they're, you know, of the higher age. You know, this is someone nearing retirement age, and their income significantly more than these people who are, you know, around 10 years from, you know, retirement age, which, you know, I feel like it'd be nice if I could retire at 65, but I don't expect that to happen. And their income's very low for somebody in their mid 50s compared to probably if you look at, you know, median income age, whereas this is probably about average. They don't have much of a car loan. They're not spending above their means. These people are younger on average, very low income, very high car loan, right? These are a little bit more evened out. I think that, you know, the 3 clusters does tell a pretty good picture here. It gives 3 distinct clusters, and these ones not as distinct, right? These are still, you know, fairly young by comparison, pretty low income. A little older by comparison, really low income. So nothing really gained from it that you're not getting here already. The other thing you can do is, you know, you're not going to get the exact same numbers as somebody else in the class. These are going to differ slightly. What I have here is going to differ from what you have if you're running the demo. And you know, everyone's going to be a little bit different. It's trying to figure it out. That's what all that's doing. So you could try running it again and see if you get different results. Because 3 just seems a little low. Probably there's some people here who could have been bumped up to that next level. I'm not sure. I don't see all the behind the scenes stuff, but this how to interpret just gives you a little bit more detail about how to view it. Add solver tab just tells you how to do it if you don't have it already. This quick thing, don't touch this, don't try to delete it, don't try to edit anything. I think most of it's locked, but basically all of the working macro stuff is just blacked out, so you don't see it. It doesn't do anything, or it doesn't. It does a lot of stuff, but it's nothing you need to worry about. So don't even mess with this quick tab. I don't know why it's called quick. And these last 2 again are just how to do these things. SSE charts, if you look for something a little bit more evened out on the errors. Central means helps you maybe a little bit identify where the center is and view the number of people in each group a little bit better. Again, the larger this sphere is on this bubble chart, the more people that are in that segment. That's what that 3rd dimension is from. You're only going to have 2 variables, so you don't need to worry about messing with this and this. It's just going to be Rotten Tomatoes score and box office dollars in 2015 dollars. But once you've chosen, whether it's 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is, don't choose one. Don't be a hero, right? You're not going to have much information to go off of. You're going to copy over just the numbers. You're going to go to here and assign cluster. You'll right click and again, paste just the values only. Don't try to paste it any other way. Right click, paste values, and then sort it by cluster number, and then do some observations, answer some questions that are going to be over here in those yellow cells. So if you have any questions, if you have any issues with it, the earlier you get a hold of me, the better. If you try to wait until Sunday night of the due date or whatever the due dates are on these assignments, it's hard for me to get back to you in an amount of time where you're actually going to be able to get it done. So thanks everyone. Again, this is part 2 of problem set 3. And make sure when you finish this, you submit it to that separate link. There's one link for part 1. There's one link for part 2. All right. Thanks everyone. And we'll see you in the next chapter.